Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Draymond Green turns Charles Barkley's own words against him in first post after round 1 win. The Golden State Warriors got the last laugh after holding off the Houston Rockets in Game 7 of their first-round series, which carried over from the post-game interviews to the players' social media reactions following the hard-fought victory. Draymond Green, among the NBA's most notorious trash talkers, led the way by flaming TNT analyst Charles Barkley on Instagram and using the former star's own words to do it. Barkley, who has a complicated history with Green over the years, guaranteed a victory for the Rockets in Houston on Sunday, May 4. Green posted video of that prediction after it fell flat. The Warriors on NBC's account then shared Green's post on X. Draymond isn't letting Chuck's pregame prediction slide. NBC's Warriors wrote, the clip Green shared actually included a back and forth between Barkley and his Inside the NBA co-host Shaquille O'Neal. I think the Rockets are going to win tonight. Barkley said, Steph Curry going to be aggressive, but it's not going to be enough. I'm guaranteeing the Rockets win tonight. Guarantee it. Ben O'Neal challenged. Oh, guarantee. Barkley shouted in response. Green's only commentary came in the form of a two-word caption under the video. Love, Charles, Green wrote. Barkley wasn't the only Warriors doubter after Golden State blew a 3-1 lead, losing by 15-point and 8-point margins respectively in Games 5 and 6. But the Warriors turned up the defensive pressure, and the Rockets, who struggled for most of the series to score in the half-court game, weren't able to execute their shot-making as effectively as they had over the previous two contests. The end result was an 89-point performance from Houston, and a relatively comfortable 14-point win for the Warriors, which was perhaps the only time one could invoke the word comfortable to describe anything about the first-round series on Golden State's behalf. The team will now travel to Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of their second-round series on Tuesday night. Shaq, Kenny Smith predict matchup problems for Timberwolves vs. Warriors. After taking care of the LeBron James and Luka Doncic-led Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be rewarded with a second-round matchup against another one of the greatest superstars of this generation in Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry. Considering the way the Timberwolves handled the Lakers in their matchup, it does look like they should be favored in their upcoming series against the Warriors. Nonetheless, this Warriors team has noticeably been playing better ever since the Jimmy Butler trade, and cannot be counted out in any capacity. In fact, a member of the TNT Inside the NBA crew, Kenny Smith, predicted that the Timberwolves may run into some matchup problems against the Dubs. Now that Jimmy Butler's there, that's a different scenario. Edwards is probably going to have to guard Jimmy Butler. Now there's a cross matchup with Jaden McDaniels and/or Mike Conley, which will not guard Butler. I think the Warriors actually have a matchup advantage in this series offensively, and they're going to be harder to guard than Minnesota for some reason, Smith said. Meanwhile, Shaquille O'Neal wonders if the Timberwolves have the personnel to play the same kind of defense the Houston Rockets did against Curry, and doubts that they do, which is why he's picking the Warriors to win the series. I'm wondering what tactics Minnesota is going to go to defensively to try to stop Steph. I'm wondering how they're going to play Steph. They only got two guys that can really deny Steph the ball. DiVincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They don't really have a lot of bodies. And when two bodies getting tired chasing around Steph, I'm rolling with Golden State." O'Neal added. Charles Barkley may not have the best track record when it comes to picking which team comes out on top in a playoff series, but he believes that with Anthony Edwards leading the way, and the team having the requisite personnel to go small and match up well against the Warriors, the Timberwolves can get the job done. "I'm going to take Minnesota. I think Minnesota is playing really, really well. Ant is a hell of a player. His confidence is sky high. I think the interesting matchup is how often they're going to play small, because if they put Rudy out there, they're going to attack him in the pick and roll. Minnesota is going to have to go small a lot if they're going to beat this team," Barkley said. Examining Rockets salary cap decisions for 2025 NBA free agency after Warriors loss. Although the Houston Rockets earned the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, they've quickly exited the postseason. Houston, which won 52 games during the regular season, fell to the Golden State Warriors in the first round following Sunday's Game 7 loss. The off-season, nevertheless, has a few major questions. In addition to having a strong majority of the rotation set to return, the Rockets will likely hold a top 10 selection in the 2025 NBA draft. However, might this disappointing exit lead the front office to explore a significant trade? The future seems bright, yet there are questions to answer in Houston. At first glance, depending on your preferred source, it may appear the Rockets have a chance to make a splash this offseason. Houston has $141.5 million on the books for the 2025-26 campaign, and a projected salary cap is $154.60 million. In reality, though, the Rockets are on track to surpass this year's $171 million bill. Big money extensions for Jalen Green and Alprinson, both north of $33 million, will kick in next season. Short of a surprise, the Rockets will be above the $187.9 million luxury tax, and flirting with the first $195.90, and second apron's $27.8 million. The very notion of declining a team option for Fred VanVleet may seem absurd. Why risk letting him explore the open market? For the Rockets' long-term outlook, it might be the wise decision. The ideal scenario is resigning VanVleet to a long-term contract at a rate below his $44.9 million option. B/R's Eric Pinkin has floated a 3-year $97.2 million idea, which for example trims approximately $15 million next season. Houston otherwise has a $4.9 million option on reserve guard Aaron Holiday, and Jock Landale has zero guaranteed money in his $8 million. The team really could go either way on Holiday, and it's possible Landale's value is more of being a salary matching chip in potential trade talks. The final note, a potentially divisive one, must be mentioned. Jalen Green is set to begin a 3-year, $16 million extension, and Houston won't necessarily view him as untouchable. His upside is terrific at only 23 years old, but he's also been inefficient and just struggled mightily in the playoffs. The major domino here is VanVleet's future. Should he sign a team-friendly deal, the Rockets have flexibility with the mid-level exception that should allow them to retain veteran center Steven Adams, the highest priority among Houston's own free agents. From there, the conversation is a bit contingent on the draft lottery, and how much the Rockets expect 2024 top pick Reed Sheppard to factor into the rotation. Today at least, more depth at point guard and center stand out as needs. Would a ball handler like Spencer Dinwiddie entertain a low-dollar deal? How much money is center Clint Capella going to command? Houston should also consider Alec Burks and Cameron Payne in the backcourt along with Mason Plumlee down low. If the Rockets keep him on a minimum-type deal, Ja Tate would provide serviceable depth on the end of the bench, too. Those aren't big names, but Houston's more realistic path to a splashy addition this offseason. Kevin Durant, for example, is through a trade and you fan. What do you think about Fred VanVleet's situation? Write to us in the comments.